It's recap time. 3, 2. Hey, quick interruption, Future Chip here. If you're coming from the previous video and you already know the drill, you can skip directly to the recap. Otherwise, if this is your first time, I'll let you with the intro and enjoy the episode. 1. Hello everybody and welcome to the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host Chip and this is not my usual intro. This is a bit of a special episode. Unfortunately, I will be away for a few days and I found out this interesting way of filling the gaps with recaps from previous episodes. If this is your first time here, use it as an opportunity to find topics that you might be interested in and go back to listen to the original ones. If you are a usual listener of the Shower Podcast, well, again, this might be a rehearsal of topics that you might be interested in. Otherwise, I understand if you want to wait for me to be back. But in the meanwhile, the podcast needs to continue and we need to reach day 365. Having said that, I will not keep you longer. Thank you very much for listening. As always, a like and a subscribe. They are always welcome. And now, recap time.
All right, let's dive straight into a bit of a different flavor for this deep dive today.
Okay.
So, many of you might have caught Chip's recent little run, 5 episodes, number 76 through 80, all on his Shower Podcast.
Right, that series.
Yeah. If you missed them, or maybe just fancy a quick catch-up, we're basically going to unpack some of the key moments, the insights, and maybe even a few of the laughs from those sessions.
Consider it highlights reel, sort of. A good way to get the gist if you haven't listened.
Exactly. Think of it as your express lane to the highlights of Chip's recent thinking.
It's actually a really interesting snapshot of his recent headspace, hitting on everything from tech experiments to, well, those very human moments of struggle and finding small wins.
Yeah, it's fascinating how these seemingly different threads kind of connect up.
Definitely.
So kicking things off with episode 76, it had that wonderfully cautious title, You Sure It Doesn't Bite?
Ah, yes. Intriguing.
And here, Chip was wrestling with AI coding tools, specifically trying to get one to whip up a Google Sheets function for him.
Right, the scripting challenge.
It sounds like his initial go with Google's own Gemini AI wasn't quite the smooth ride he'd hoped for. Didn't really meet his needs.
Yeah. Which is interesting, right? Because then he found much better luck with Anthropic's Claude 3.7. Apparently after a tip from a friend. And he got the script he needed in just 3 tries.
Wow, 3 iterations. That's pretty good.
It really shows that the landscape of these AI tools is still, evolving fast. Different models have very different strengths, different weaknesses, depending on what you're asking them to do.
Makes you wonder about the training data and all that behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Oh, he used this analogy that really stuck with me. Comparing these AI coding tools to owning a guard dog.
Oh, yeah, I remember that bit.
He framed it like this. A skilled engineer is like someone who really understands their dog. The AI trains it, knows how to handle its quirks, gets the best out of it.
Which really highlights the need for that foundational understanding, doesn't it? It's not just about having the tool. It's knowing how it works, its limits, how to guide it.
Yeah, you can anticipate issues, fine-tune things.
Right.
But then you have Jimmy, the less experienced user. He gets this impressive-looking dog, the AI, but hasn't got a clue how to manage it properly.
And Chip painted this funny, slightly chaotic picture of this dog that, looks the part but ends up causing problems, nipping at guests, that kind of thing.
Totally. The humor lands because it taps into that feeling of getting powerful tech without fully grasping it. We've all kind of been there, maybe not with AI dogs, but...
For sure. The core insight is clear, though. AI offers incredible power, but using it well takes skill and understanding beyond just the basics.
Otherwise, you might do simple stuff, but then you hit a wall, or you don't quite trust the output.
Exactly. You might misinterpret what it gives you.
He even touched on the idea of agents as the next step, where different AI models work together more autonomously.
Ooh, yeah.
And the guard dog analogy gets even funnier, or maybe scarier. An untrained AI pack roaming free.
Huh. Yeah, a funny image, but definitely with a proceed with caution vibe. It raises important questions about responsibility as these systems get more autonomous.
Definitely need that user education piece.
Absolutely critical.
Right. So from potentially bitey AI to the challenge of just getting ourselves organized.
Yeah.
Episode 77. Visualize it.
Ah, yes, the task management saga. Very relatable.
Totally. It was all about Chip's struggle with managing tasks and his journey to create his own system in Google Sheets again.
He talked about just keeping stuff in his head, didn't he?
Yeah, his tendency to just keep a mental list,
Yeah.
which, works okay for a few things, but...
But it has a breaking point. Our working memory can only hold so much effectively. That mental juggling act gets stressful fast, and you forget things.
Oh, constantly. He mentioned trying other things before whiteboards.
Yeah.
Journaling, time blocking.
Usual suspects.
Things that worked for a bit, but then eventually became overwhelming in their own way. It's that constant search for a system that just clicks, isn't it?
It really is. And it highlights how personal productivity is. What works for me might drive you crazy, and vice versa. It takes experimentation.
So he decided to build this visual system in Google Sheets. Columns for time horizons like now, today, 5 days, week, month.
Okay, seeing the timeline.
And rows for priority levels, S, A, B, C, D. That classic system.
Got it. Visual grid.
He even tried getting Gemini AI to help build it initially.
Oh, back to the AI. How did that go?
He described the result as absolutely horrible, not visually appealing at all.
Huh. So much for AI design sense then. It really underscores that human element, right? Usability, aesthetics, AI isn't quite there yet for creating tools we find intuitive.
Definitely needed that personal touch. His custom sheet had clever features, like checkboxes for done tasks.
Satisfying to tick those off.
Totally. An automatic saving of completed tasks to a separate backlog sheet.
Yeah.
So you see what you've actually accomplished.
And that visual feedback is so powerful for motivation, isn't it? Seeing things move to done. Plus, the backlog reminds you you have been productive.
Yeah, the benefits he was hoping for were things we all want.
Yeah.
Better motivation, handling tasks better, less procrastination, just feeling more in control.
Sounds like a dream.
The humor really came from his honesty about past failures. That self-deprecating stuff about the mental to-do list always failing him.
That's what makes it relatable. We've all relied on memory and had things slip through. Recognizing those tendencies is the first step.
Okay, then we shifted gears a bit. Episode 78, titled Unlucky.
Ah, the injury episode.
Yeah, Chip dealing with a frustrating recurrence of an ankle injury, the same one he had heard just about a month before. Talk about a setback.
Ouch. Yeah, that's tough. It's that unpredictable nature of life, isn't it? And physical limits hitting your plans. That not again feeling is rough.
He admitted to the initial frustration, the disappointment, sidelined from sports again for months. That feeling of one step forward, two steps back.
It's natural to feel that. You have to let yourself acknowledge the disappointment, I think. It's part of coping.
But what was interesting was his different approach this time. He made a point of going straight to the hospital, getting it properly checked out.
Ah, learning from experience, that's good. Taking proactive steps, getting professional help, that makes a difference.
And he talked about actively trying to reframe it, focusing on the lucky parts like, okay, no permanent long-term damage, and he can recover eventually.
That cognitive reframing, yeah. It's such a powerful tool for resilience. Choosing to focus on the positive aspects even when it's hard, it changes your outlook.
His general takeaway was, unlucky stuff happens, it's inevitable, but what really counts is how you react, what you learn.
That's the core of it, acceptance and adaptation.
And there was maybe a touch of dark humor in just the sheer absurdity of re-injuring the exact same ankle.
Sometimes you just have to laugh, right? It can diffuse the frustration a bit, stop you spiraling.
Which leads us nicely into episode 79, which tackled a feeling most of us know. Give up.
Oof. Yeah, heavy topic, but important.
Chip got really candid about struggling mentally, especially with the injury dragging on and just that urge to throw in the towel on things.
That vulnerability is powerful. It's so important to acknowledge that setbacks, especially long ones, really mess with your head. Wanting to give up is, well, it's human.
He gave a really specific example, letting the house get messy. And he recognized it created this negative feedback loop.
Ah, the environment reflecting the internal state. Yeah. Mess leads to feeling demotivated, which leads to more mess.
It's a vicious cycle. So he emphasized having solid habits and routines already in place, like an anchor, to stop that downward spiral.
Definitely. Habits provide structure, normalcy, they automate good stuff so you don't rely purely on willpower, which tanks when you're down.
He admitted it's hard to keep doing things that don't show immediate results, but he stressed perseverance, with a caveat.
What was the caveat?
Being willing to reevaluate if the evidence really screams, this isn't working. You don't just blindly persist. But he reaffirmed his commitment to the podcast, for instance.
That balance is key, isn't it? Persistence versus knowing when to pivot. Resilience, but also wisdom.
He also described how that demotivation can sort of bleed into other areas, neglecting projects, things like that. It spreads.
Yeah, it's like a contagion. Highlights how interconnected everything is. Slip in one area, it affects others.
So his strategies for breaking the cycle: start small, really small, manageable actions, like just tidying one little bit.
Building momentum.
Exactly. Creating a more supportive environment. He used analogies like Switzerland's orderliness or the focus of a library, and really leaning into that initial boost you get from even a tiny win.
Those are all solid, evidence-based strategies. Small steps build confidence. Good environment helps. Harnessing that initial momentum is crucial to break stagnation.
And remembering past successes too. Reminding yourself you've gotten through tough stuff before.
Yes. Drawing on past resilience bolsters your confidence now. Gives perspective, hope.
Which brings us perfectly to the final episode in this run, number 80. Title: Small Win.
A great follow-up message.
It directly followed on from the give-up episode. Chip actually did tidy up, like he planned, but only partially.
And that's the point, right? Recognizing your limits in that moment and celebrating whatever progress you did make, no matter how small. It's realistic, compassionate self-improvement.
His main message was exactly that. Take the small win. What feels minor might be the most realistic thing you could achieve right then, especially when you're not at 100%.
It's such a powerful antidote to that all-or-nothing thinking that just sets you up for disappointment. Acknowledging small victories keeps you going.
He critiqued setting overly ambitious goals too. They can backfire. And he related it back to his injury, seeing the small win in just managing to still produce podcast episodes, even with lower morale.
Aligning expectations with current capacity. When things are tough, incremental progress is way more sustainable than aiming for huge leaps you can't make.
The principle he shared was powerful too. Just stopping a negative trend is a win in itself.
Yes. Halting the decline is progress. It clears the path for improvement later. That shift in perspective is empowering.
His recommendation: plan more conservatively. Aim to overshoot those smaller targets. Better for outcomes, better for your head.
Build in that buffer. Set yourself up for success. Exceeding expectations feels way better. Reinforces good habits.
And he used a great analogy. Loads of small wins add up to success. One massive effort followed by burnout and inactivity. Not effective long term.
Consistency beats intensity most of the time. Building sustainable habits over relying on fleeting motivation bursts makes total sense.
So there you have it. A whirlwind tour through Chip's recent deep dives on the Shower Podcast. We've touched on AI coding, that quest for organization.
Navigating setbacks, battling the urge to quit, and yeah, the huge power of those small wins.
What really ties them together, I think, is Chip's really open, relatable way of talking about the challenges we all face,
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's new tech or those internal struggles with motivation, resilience, there's something in there that resonates.
We really hope this summary gave you some useful insights, maybe a few things to think about, perhaps even a chuckle or two.
And if any of these topics really grabbed your attention.
Yeah, we highly recommend checking out the original Shower Podcast, episodes 76 through 80, for the full context and Chip's own engaging delivery.
You'll get the full flavor directly from him.
Thanks so much for joining us for this special deep dive into Chip's recent thoughts. We really appreciate you tuning in and lending us your ears.
Yeah, it was great to unpack these themes.
See you tomorrow.